As you can see from the name of the video, as well as where I'm standing in front of, I am now in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And this is in the southwest corner of Tennessee. And it's just a really tiny little town. There's about 4,000 people here, but there's plenty to do. And it's really crazy because for how small it is, there's actually 8 different Ripley, believe it or not, spin-offs that they have here. They have the main Ripley's Believe It or Not that has about 500 different, I think they call them artifacts. They have a movie theater, a haunted house, as well as a couple of other things. So with this being such a small town and having so many attractions, it does make for terrible parking and terrible traffic year round. Right now it's fall, and so people are up here to see the changing leaves. This is close to the Smoky Mountains National Park. So it's a really beautiful area, but again, it just attracts a ton of people. But anyway, welcome to Gatlinburg. This is a really cute little area called the Village. They have a little donut shop, coffee shops. I saw there was a Celtic shop which had gifts from Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Right now you can see it's decorated a little bit for fall, and it's really cute how they have it. I can only imagine how they have it for each season. This is a really cute place called the Village. One interesting thing about this area is how many different moonshine places they have, such as this one right here, as well as wineries. They're kind of all over, and I don't know if they are different brands or makes or styles, but you just see them everywhere, that moonshine and wineries are all over this region. As I mentioned earlier, parking is pretty crazy. This is one street that does have free parking. This is called River Road, and it's this right here, but as far as I can tell, there isn't any time limit. So I actually got up at 6 a.m. to make sure that I had parking. I just have a really big van. It's not that easy to find nice little teeny tiny spots like these. But also another place, if you don't want to pay for a parking lot, is they have this little trolley stop right here, and you can park at the Gatlinburg Welcome Center. It's right beside a trolley stop. It's free to park there, and I think it was $2.50 for an all-day pass, and they go kind of all over Gatlinburg. So that's another option you can do instead of trying to find one of these little teeny tiny spots or pay a lot for a parking lot. Not sure if you can see this too well or even really hear it, but there is a river there behind me. That's what the River Road is named after. And it's really pretty as it's right beside the main strip, but it's just a lot quieter and a lot more peaceful to just kind of walk along this area beside the river. There is a thing called the Sky Park, and it is these little yellow ski lifts basically that take you up the mountain and has a really great view of the area. It is $29 to ride one of these, but there's no other way to get up. And it is good for all day. Once you pay, they give you a little wristband, and it's from 9 to 9. I think there's also a different price for being able to go up for the sunrise, but from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. you can come back up and you're at least able to watch the sunset. So I'm gonna go see what this view looks like from the top of Sky Park. Included in the $29 is a sky bridge right here, and it's really incredible because it offers a really beautiful view of the whole surrounding area. And so it's really nice that for 12 hours you can come here as often as you want and get this great view. But it's really funny with these little patches of clouds and stuff. You can see why they call it the Great Smoky Mountains. I will say, for someone who has a fear of heights, this is a little bit mind over matter, walking across that bridge as well as seeing this view kind of coming down here. But it is still worth it as long as you can just kind of get through it. Real quick, while I have this view, this right here is the Gatlinburg Needle, and I guess you can actually go up to the top there and have a great view if you don't want to do this chairlift here. I'm standing in front of the Hollywood Star Cars Museum, And these are actually cars that were used in Hollywood movies. I know that they used the car for, I think this one over here is from the movie Fast and the Furious 9. I think there is the car from Gone in 60 Seconds and a couple of other ones. I think, as you can see, this one's the Batmobile. But these are not replicas, these are actually real cars, and so I'm gonna go check that out. This is a really cool museum right here from James Bond's GoldenEye. Then this is from Transformers Bumblebee. Actually, both of these are. This car right here is a James Dean car. And then, funny enough, this one right over here is Beverly Hillbillies. And so I'm gonna keep on walking because I think there's some fun ones back there. No tour of Hollywood cars is complete without the McLorean from Back to the Future, as well as, one second, Ghostbusters. While many people think the Fast and the Furious movies are pretty lame, you have to admit that this car right there is pretty sweet. For only $15, you get to see all of this. So this is a really cool museum to see. Two of my favorites, we're getting to see the Avenger SUV, as well as Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. You do get to take pictures inside of them. I think you can choose two. It does cost, I think it was $18, so I thought I'll just do on the outside. But it was really interesting how many of the action cars, so that they made 11 cars, 15 cars, and some of them that are here in the museum are the only ones that are surviving. So that's really cool to just see a little bit of the history behind these cars. I decided to come on in and actually try some moonshine. It is very strong, but it's crazy to see all these different flavors that they have here. Some are really sweet, actually a lot of them are, but it is really interesting to try moonshine. This area behind me here is the Great Smoky National Park, and this is literally walking distance from the little downtown Gatlinburg area. But it's a really, really beautiful drive. The one thing is, as you'll be able to hear and see, there are a lot of people who come on this. The most beautiful part's about 30 minutes away, and it takes you all the way to the top. You have a beautiful view of the whole area. If you want to drive the whole thing, it's about an hour all the way to Cherokee, North Carolina, just over the border. But this whole area is really, really beautiful with several pull-off areas and picnic areas and things like that. So this is a drive well worth it. Just a few minutes outside of town is this really cute little cabin, and it is the Ogle Cabin. And they said that he was actually the first settler that wanted to stay in the area, and so he built this cabin and he went back to collect his family in South Carolina. Unfortunately caught malaria and died before he was ever able to come back. But this cabin has withstood the test of time, and you can actually still go inside and kind of walk around this whole area. And it was interesting because even though he's classified as the first settler, first white man I should say, he's not the one that is credited with the name of the town. It was a guy named Radford Gatlin, who actually was a very cantankerous guy, and he didn't get along with anybody in town, but he had the general store and a post office. And as the Civil War was starting to come up, he was actually for slavery, whereas most of the people in town were against it, and they actually threw him out of the town, and yet somehow his name has stayed all of these years, called Gatlinburg. This little area that I'm driving on right now is a little loop just outside of town that has the Ogle Cabin on it, and this is just a really pretty one-way loop. They might have it closed off if there is bad weather, and the traffic can of course get bad if it is a one-way, but this is a really pretty area with different trails you can hike on, as well as some waterfalls and some other things that you can see. So this is just a really pretty place to come and drive around. So when you think of a museum, I'm guessing the place I'm about to show you is not what comes to mind. This is one of the most fascinating little places that I've ever been to, especially for a museum. It, as you can see, is the Salt and Pepper Shaker Museum, and they have over 20,000 different artifacts in there. And it was really interesting as you can kind of see the size of it, but once you go in, it's a lot bigger than you would imagine. They have them grouped into different things such as Amish, Native American, transportation, Christmas. They had rooms that were different colors, so salt and pepper shakers that were all blue, some that were all golds, and they were all grouped together. Two of my favorites were the international ones. One was with international words on it, and the other, they were actually from international places, such as India, Scotland, Turkey, and Spain. So this is really a cool place to check out. It's much different than you're expecting, and it is just really, really impressive what all that they have put together over the years. So this wraps up my time here in Gatlinburg. At first when I was driving through, I just saw that traffic, nowhere to park, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is way too small for this many people. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I actually had a lot more fun than I was expecting. It rained off and on all day today, and so I think that kept the crowd a little bit smaller, which I appreciated. And so I am glad that I was able to come here and check this out. And I think if you were to come here, once you park, you're gonna enjoy your time here too. There's something for everyone. They have things for adults, such as moonshine and wineries. They also have tons of stuff for kids, such as arcade stuff, Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's peaceful things to do, walk around, take little hikes. It's very scenic. So there's something here for everyone. And I think you'll enjoy your time if you're able to make it to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And so with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I will see you in the next video.